It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. The Dep Lewis Show. It's the Dep Lewis Show. Welcome to the Dep Lewis Show, episode 156. This is your host, Dep Lewis, and today is Sunday, November 23rd, 2025. A great day for a podcast about video games and more. So I hope you're doing great out there in the world. Wherever and whenever you're listening to this, thank you so much for being here. The first order of business is to ask you to follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch me play some games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. Today's show will have 3 sections as always. The first section, I'll talk about what video games I've been playing since I've last talked to you on this microphone. The mid section, which is the middle of the show, is where I tell you everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And the third and final section, the Miscellaneous Talk section, is a break from all the video game talk. And I usually get into the worldwide world of sports, and that will be the case today. Even though this is an NFL Sunday, but my favorite NFL team does not even play today. I can't believe it. They're normally playing at 1 o'clock. I'm normally recording the podcast, releasing it, having about 30 minutes before the game starts. But not today. The Carolina Panthers play tomorrow night on Monday Night Football, if you can believe it, out there in San Francisco trying to take on the 49ers. And they have the opportunity this week to be first in the division if they can get a win and the Bucs can take a loss. So I will be talking about some of that at the end of the show in the Miscellaneous Talk section. But the first thing is first. Like people sometimes say, you got to keep the main thing the main thing. And the main thing around this Dep Lewis Show is the video game talk. So what the heck have I been playing since I've last talked to you last week? I've been playing a new game. This game came out last week. This is a Switch 2 release, Switch 2 exclusive. So a great reason to own a Switch 2. I imagine a lot of people will be getting this game for Christmas along with their console. And I think that is going to be a great thing because I've been having a lot of fun with this game. And that is Kirby Air Riders. This game released on November 20th. It is $69.99 US dollars. It's for Nintendo Switch 2 only, so no Nintendo Switch 1 version. This game is the follow-up. I don't know if you want to call it a sequel, but the follow-up to Kirby Air Ride, which released on the GameCube. I don't really know what year that was, but many moons ago. And Sakurai, the creator of Kirby, the creator of Smash, is the creator of this game. So I think Kirby Air Ride was one of his favorite games he developed, and he's had a lot of Smash going on, and especially with Smash Ultimate, Sakurai was, working, putting all those characters into that great game. And then it seems like right after development of Smash Ultimate finally ceased, he was able to go on to make Kirby Air Riders, which seems like something he was very excited to do. And that's just based upon, a lot of interviews and things, and also the very lengthy, Nintendo Directs for Kirby Air Riders. But this game's been extremely fun. This has really been the year of, I've been playing a lot of racing games this year. I've been playing Mario Kart World. I've been playing Sonic Racing. I've been playing some older racing games, I guess. I played some Forza earlier in the year, but this has been a year of Mario Kart World for me, which has been my leader for Game of the Year for most of the year. And now Kirby Air Riders is swooping in and flying in, I guess trying to come get a piece of the Game of the Year pie. And there's just enough time for this game to really get in there. And I think it's having a really strong start. So I know I've just been playing this game for a few days, so this is kind of the opening weekend hoopla or hype for myself of playing this game, but I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I'm here to tell you about it. So Kirby Air Riders, fast-paced vehicular action. Pick your rider, pick your machine, and mount up for a competition. Take on your rivals in frantic arena battles or fast-paced races on the ground and in the air. Use the boost charge button to brake and control your turns as your machine automatically fights for top speed. Fill your boost charge gauge as you drift around the bend and release it to trigger an explosive dash. Alright, so there are 3 main modes in this game: Air Ride, Top Ride, and City Trial. Air Ride, I guess, is like the most standard kind of Grand Prix mode in this game, and that's the first one that I really got into. So I've been having fun with the races there. There's maybe, 10 courses that are unlocked from the start. There's not like Grand Prix in terms of like courses put together, but you can control all the terms of the, each map or whatever. So you can say, hey, we want to do infinite laps. We want to do 10 laps. We want to do 3 laps. I want the computer skill to be at a 10 out of 10 or whatever it may be. So it's really like Smash in that regard, and a little bit different from Mario Kart, where it has a Grand Prix with like courses grouped into one thing. But I do like the depth that it has of being able to choose all your options and kind of make the race as hard as you want to be. And I think the most basic thing I want to say about this game is controlling the game feels amazing. And actually the gameplay, I think, is the strongest thing here, along with the visuals. So I think it's a huge plus on anything you're doing in this game. Is just moving around. It feels really, really good. So the air ride mode, I think, is my favorite so far. I've been having the most fun with that. So within air ride, you can do races against a computer, you can do time trials, and then you can also do online races. So I've been having a lot of fun with the online races. There are 6 racers generally or 6 racers on the track for air riders, and I've already won maybe 3 times, maybe 4 times. So I have never even won a Mario Kart World online race yet, and that's something I've been playing since June and really kind of trying at it. And it's nice to get a win early on in Kirby Air Riders to kind of get me hooked. It has ranked play, it has quick play. I think the only real difference is the ranked play puts you into a class, and you can rank up kind of, I guess, maybe over the course of a season or over the course just of your lifetime in the game. It's going to hold you at a rank, which I think is fun because that's something I like doing in these online games. It's not like I'm a serious gamer, but I do like playing the online options in these games, and it's fun to see kind of where you're at. I think it's a really nice thing. And Air Ride's been really fun. I really enjoy the maps. I think driving around on the maps is fun, and I think the majority of my time spent in this game will be in the air ride section, doing the time attacks, doing just the races against the computer, trying to get better, and then also doing online races. So I've been having the most fun in air ride section of Kirby Air Riders, but top ride would be the second mode, and this is like a top-down view of the map. So kind of like, I think it's RC Pro is the game from Rare back in the day. But if you look at this for just 2 seconds, you're going to, I guess if you're an older video gamer, or I guess anybody can really understand what's going on, but it's like looking at a racetrack from above. So there are 2 different control schemes for this. I think the free roam control feels better. I think it takes some getting used to, but I think is the best way to go. The other one is just a straight left to right, and I think that's a little bit too, I don't know. I guess either way would probably take some getting used to, but I think I'm going to stick with the free roam for now. But I've been having fun with this. I guess I've played some of these like old style racing games back in the day, but nothing too intense or crazy. But I've been having fun with this. This is I think the maps are cool. They're a little bit different. They're a little bit shorter in length, and I'm having fun with it. And I think it's tough. Like, you're bumping into the walls a lot, so there's definitely going to be a skill barrier here, because clean racing, you don't want to be bumping into the walls at all. In this mode, I think I'm definitely bumping into the walls a lot, so you really have to kind of get your groove going. But I think it's a really fun switch up and change up. It basically puts a 3D game and then a 2D game. I guess if you're thinking like a platformer, it'd be having like both of those modes in the menu to go play. So I think it's extremely cool. You can use all the same characters. You can customize your characters. I'll talk about that in a minute. But Top Ride's extremely fun. It has an online component to it as well. It has a ranked and a quick play as well. So all the menu options are really cool. All the options are really cool. It might seem a little overwhelming, and I think that's intentional because of so much in this game. But I think over the time of playing it, you're going to get more and more used to it. And I'm liking everything this game's putting down so far. So Top Ride is the top-down kind of racing mode, and then City Trial is the last mode. That's the one I put the least amount of time into. I think this is the one a lot of people from Kirby Air Ride really enjoyed and got a lot of playtime out of. This one I actually kind of learned a lot about last night watching Sarah Podge, the great streamer and podcaster on Pew Pew Bang, and overall just cool internet person playing this. So if you want to, I don't know if you can go watch the VOD of her on Twitch, but watching her play City Trial was interesting because it was teaching me what was going on. So it basically gives you a 5-minute timer. You're plopped into the city, either with other computer characters or you can matchmake with people online. You spend 5 minutes kind of leveling up your cart. So you're driving around, you're picking up items, you're picking up a stat boost, so you're picking up speed, you're picking up weight, possibly you're picking up I don't know, there's a bunch of different ones you can be picking up, and you can be putting all these different attributes on your cart. So after the end of 5 minutes, and you can kind of battle it out with other people. You can punch them. I think you can steal their stuff. Like, there's all sorts of craziness going on for 5 minutes. And then at the end of that, it puts you into a random choice of, like, I guess almost like mini games. They can be extremely short. It can be a short race. It can be something where they kind of like shoot you up into the air at a target, and you got to try to hit different targets. And it puts you into that based on the cart you built. So you don't necessarily know what you're going to be getting into in the mini game, and so you don't really know what you're going to build your cart to. So you just kind of got to hope and pray a little bit, or pick something like try to be in between to try to handle all situations. So there's definitely some strategy in it. I don't think any of it's too intense, but there's definitely some layers to it. So I think from the most simple way of moving around in this game to some of the like combinations and builds of your car and things like that, there is some strategy to the game. And then there's definitely some like mastery to just moving around this world. I could see it taking a good while to get good at really, cruising around this world in a good fashion. So City Trial is something that I'm going to play more of because I think it's fun. And I'm going to be playing all these modes online, and I'm excited to try out City Trial more. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a good way to see all the different options in the game in like a short burst, because there are a lot of options in this game. There's a lot of different carts. There's a lot of different just things going on. There's a lot of different icons you're going to have to learn over time, and just things going on in this world. But I guess they'll be second nature at some point if you end up playing Kirby Air Riders a lot. And I've been having fun with the character roster. I've been using some Kirby. You can change the color on Kirby. You can put all sorts of hats on Kirby. There's marketplaces where you can buy hats with the in-game currency. There's also I don't know if there's like a resale market, but there's like exclusive carts. You can buy carts that people have made, like custom designed carts you can buy from other people. There's different like combinations. Like, there's really a lot of stuff going on in here. But I think when I originally jumped in this game after watching the directs and then getting into the menu, you can go through tutorials. And I would almost recommend maybe just doing, a little bit of the initial tutorials, but just kind of jumping into the game and figuring it out as you go, because I was getting bogged down a little bit by some of the explanation things. And then once you get into the game, you're like, man, I'm really just going to have to play this to get a feel for it. And I mean, that's kind of what you want, I guess, with a racing game. It feels really good to race around the world, and I've been having fun with it. So I've been using some Kirby. I've been using some Waddle Dee. Sauropods unlocked Rick last night, the hamster, which is really cool. So I hope to get Rick at some point, because he's like a really cute character, and he'll get a sword at some points, and you can put little hats on him and stuff. So there's a lot of like cutesy, like cool looking characters and stuff going on. And everything in this game looks good, from the menus to the levels to just every single thing. The character designs, the music in this game is good. It is a home run, smash hit for me so far. Like, I've really been having a lot of fun with this, especially in a year when I've been playing a lot of racing games and really getting into them and really realizing how much I love Mario Kart and playing Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. And I think this really kind of is a good blend. Not that it's intentional, but between Mario Kart and Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, it's doing a little bit of some of the best things from both of those games in this one package. And I'm having a lot of fun with this game so far. I'm really, really enjoying it. And I only have a month until Game of the Year, but I think that's enough time for me to see where it goes. So it's going to be a race to the finish. That pun really wasn't intended, but whatever. That one slid in there. Air Road. I don't know if you're going to say Air Road, but whatever. But this game is starting really strong. I've been having fun with it. I'm trying to think of what else I want to say about it. I'm going to do a lot of the air. I just have a lot to do left in this game. And there's a story mode in this game, which is apparently not too long, and you can complete it with other characters. So it's really, you got to really think of Smash in terms of setup and UI and how much is in there, and then put Kirby Air Ride, the gameplay, over it. And it's really, really, really cool. So Kirby Air Riders, I've been having a lot of fun with it, and I will keep you updated on my thoughts going into the end of the year. All right, so what else have I been playing in this past week? This past week, I did a little bit of trading at the local video game store, and I actually traded in my Switch 1. So I'm no longer a Switch 1 owner, and I don't know if I feel too bad about it. It was a little bit sad to see it go. It's my Switch OLED, and there's just really not too much of a reason to have a Switch 1 if you have a Switch 2, unless you just want to
have a Switch set up in another room, or you really like using it for handheld in particular, or just you want to have a different set of games downloaded on it, there's not really too much reason. I think the Switch 2 is more comfortable in handheld, and then you get you can play all the Switch 2 games, you can play all the Switch 1 games still. So that's my little bit of a take on that. I think having a Switch 1 is still perfectly fine because there's a huge, giant, wonderful library of games to play, but I am just rolling with the Switch 2 right now, and I'm feeling pretty good about that so far. And so that's basically what I'm getting to is I traded in a few things, got a little bit of store credit at my local shop, and I picked up a couple games. So the first one is a game I've been playing on my Nintendo Switch 2 through the Nintendo Online Plus expansion pack through the GameCube section of that, and that's F-Zero GX. So this is included with Nintendo Switch Online Plus the expansion pack if you have Switch 2. And I've always kind of liked F-Zero. I think the most I've played is the one on N64. And I was excited when this got added into the GameCube part of Nintendo Switch Online and tried it out and really liked it, like everything it's doing. And I've been, getting into playing my GameCube. It's in here near my computer. I've been playing Mario Golf Toadstool Tour. That's been kind of the most played GameCube game I've been playing on this original hardware, and it's been a lot of fun. And I think having having a racing game would be fun. I traded in, what was it? I had I got a copy of Mario Kart Double Dash from that store recently, but when I got it home, it actually wasn't working. So I did have, I had that trade credit still going too. So I had some wheeling and dealing going on, which was nice. But I was trying to get Mario Kart Double Dash. Their copy wasn't working, and they had this copy of F-Zero GX up there for a bit. And I finally, once I traded in my Switch and had a little bit of extra cash, I was like, man, I'm going to get this game now because this is the most expensive physical game I own. The GameCube games are quite expensive. This one was $80, and I think my second most expensive GameCube game would be Luigi's Mansion. So this is one that really satisfies like a perfect thing for this console of just having a racing game and playing this. Some of my initial, I guess I got a lot of thoughts as always, but the first thing, what I want to say about the first thing, I want to talk about I guess I just want to say that after playing this on the original hardware, it runs better on the original hardware. And I guess that's probably not a surprise to most people, but it's a little bit of a surprise to me as someone who hasn't played original hardware in a long time, that the emulation that's being done on Nintendo Switch Online is a little bit off, I guess, in some instances. I don't know if all instances, but maybe some instances. And it's definitely noticeable when you go from playing it on the Nintendo Switch Online to playing the actual original version. I think maybe it just stands out a little more with F-Zero GX because you're moving so quickly and you're having to get around these turns, and there are you can turn yourself with the analog, but there's also the triggers do some like boosting to the left and to the right that's important. So I don't know if some of that sensitivity there with the GameCube sticks or the controller just really helps out a whole lot, but it really is just a smoother experience and runs better. I think it maybe looks a tad bit nicer on Nintendo Switch Online, but I think it's pretty negligible of the difference. I think these old consoles, and GameCube in particular, I think holds up kind of the best of like pre-HDMI consoles that I've really seen. I'm able to actually plug it in with the composite cables, but they have these adapters that you can use too, but the composite cables actually work fine if your TV is even able to handle that. And I've been having a lot of fun with it. So now I have F-Zero GX, and I want to say it runs better OEM, which is crazy. And I think it's a good difference, but as I was thinking about this, I'm like, man, I was really happy that I was able to try this on Nintendo Switch Online because it is such an expensive GameCube game. It's really like a hard thing to want to jump in and just immediately buy it, even though it's a series like F-Zero that I know I've had fun with, but I never really played this game on the GameCube back in the day. I've definitely played more Double Dash, so I think that's pretty cool too. That's something I haven't played a whole lot of, and I look forward to playing more of it. So I'm getting into this game. There's 3 different sets of Grand Prix in this game. There's 6 maps in each Grand Prix, and the maps get progressively harder as you go up the Grand Prix, so I think that's pretty cool. There are 30 different racers in this game that all have different attributes and strengths and weaknesses, so I think that's pretty fun. I've been using Captain Falcon so far, and then you can also, so besides the Grand Prix in this game, you can also just do time trials on the individual levels, and you can kind of do them continuously, which is really fun. And I was, doing some of that last night because, getting into the Grand Prix where you have to do 6 races, that takes a little bit more time than Mario Kart, say, where it's only 4. But if you don't want to commit to the 6 races, you can just do some time trials, and it'll track your lap speed, and if you beat your speed, it'll give you a new record, and you can just kind of keep racing as long as you want to go. It's easy to pause, and it's just fun to do, and it kind of tracks all your stats within the game too, your best characters and all your speeds and on each course. And there's just a lot of good statistical stuff in this game, and that's something I've been enjoying, or learning that I've been enjoying with some of these racers as well, of looking at your stats. And Kirby Air Riders definitely has a lot of that too. So F-Zero GX has been one of my new pickups from this week, and I've been having a whole lot of fun with that one. I think that one, between that and Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, those would probably be the two that I have in rotation on that GameCube for a while. I have other games on my wish list that I want to get. I still want to get Double Dash at some point. But I think, maybe even pick up an original version of Kirby Air Ride at some point to try that out. But other than that, it would just be, maybe like Mario Sunshine, some other games that I already kind of have on the Switch that I'm able to play. So I don't know if those take so much precedent, but I think it's nice to see the difference between the original version and see the difference between the emulation. And it's a little bit strange that why the emulation would be kind of off on Nintendo Switch Online. Maybe it is just kind of real minimal, but it is a little bit unusual that that's off. And I don't know if I guess maybe just it being a racing game is the one where it kind of makes it more noticeable, because when I played Wind Waker on there, I think it looks extremely well, or extremely nice. And I'm trying to think, I guess people were complaining about Super Mario Strikers on there and it being a little bit different than the controlling a little bit worse than the original. So maybe that's just the case, and maybe that's just the price you got to pay for the Nintendo Switch Online emulation and not owning it, and just the benefit to still having an older console, I guess. So a win for having an older console there, because F-Zero GX released in 2003, and I am happy to have it. I think it's the coolest game. That's probably one of the coolest physical games I own at this point. And the other part of it, it's been sitting in the local shop for some weeks now. All you can do is see the spine of it. The spine of it looks super clean. I don't really like to buy any like busted up cases or anything like that. And so I finally was like, okay, I did my trade. I'm like, okay, I want to look at that. I want to get that F-Zero game from the case over there. I walk over, pull it out. I'm like, yeah, I just want to make sure the case looks good. I'm like, I think it does. And then pull it out, and it looks horrible. It had the case had writing on it, on the inside of it, on the inside and the outside. Like someone wrote his name. I think his name was like Geoff or something. It was like Geoff's copy of the game. And I'm like, damn it, man. And luckily it was just on the case. It wasn't on the actual artwork of the game. So the game store, which is super nice, my local game shop is awesome. And they found another case that they had in the back that they could give me, and they just gave that to me to take with it. So it looks a lot better. But then even the guy even wrote his name on the copy of the disc. So I think my copy of this game says Geoff on it or something like that. But as long as the case looks good, because I do have those few GameCube games out, I'm happy with it. If the game says somebody else's name on there, that's not too big of a deal, because that's just going to be in the console. And I think the most important things with these GameCube games is you want them to work, especially if you're paying all this money for them. You want them to be a good copy of the game, and I think it's like a case-by-case basis. I had I guess the only bad luck I've had is with that copy of Mario Kart Double Dash recently. And when I brought it back, they said they did notice like a crack in it or whatever. So it might have just been something that the person who took it in just missed. So those things happen, I guess. But I've been playing a lot of F-Zero GX this weekend. So I've been, continuing the racing kick over here for real. And it's been something that's just extremely relaxing to do. It's fun to do. And I like the competitive part of the online, but I also like just the kind of relaxing nature of the Grand Prix. And it's fun having these, ready to go. And I've been playing a lot of these, so I think that's just going to be continuing. So one of the other games I picked up at the local shop is something I've been looking for a long time. This is not a rare game in any way, but it's been rare to find this at my local shop. And I guess I order stuff online, but it's really fun to go there and look around and check things out and see what's new. So it definitely enhances the experience, I would say, going in person if you're able to. But, if you're really hard up or just wanted to get the game immediately, this would be a good one to get online. But that's Mario Kart DS. And this one, and that's the other thing with the local shop, you got to hope they get a copy in. And then if you are concerned about the condition, that's a big factor, because a lot of times these old games are going to be in kind of bad shape. So if you aren't like a giant collector like myself, I just want my few copies of things to be nice. That's important to me, and you can really hit or miss sometimes on some of these older games with the condition of them. But I got a copy of Mario Kart DS. It was actually in the case. With the DS games, I don't really care if they come in the case. And oftentimes, if they have a loose copy, I would probably just buy that because it's less expensive. But this one was in a nice case. That's the one they had, and I was happy to see it. They had it kind of on a random shelf that I don't normally, I think that they had just put a bunch more games there that they had gotten, so pretty lucky. So I've been playing Mario Kart DS on my DS, and immediately upon playing this, bringing me back to when I was playing this previously, this is the first game I got for my DS back in the day. It was kind of right when I started working a job, and I would have to drive around to different locations, and I would play this on my lunch break and things like that. And having it on handheld, and just this particular version, I think is just incredibly good. There's definitely a lot of nostalgia for me with this one. But even playing it in modern times, it's still great. Even without the analog stick on the DS, I think it still controls great. It still has a little bit of element of drift. I don't think drift is as big of a mechanic back in these without the analog stick, but you're still able to drift around the corners, and it's still like a finesse thing to the game, but it's just not as consistent in these new games where, I'm always saying ABD, you always be drifting in these new games. And I guess even Kirby Air Riders is more, you have to be more selective with your drifting in that one. But Mario Kart World, I would say you're, always be drifting, in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe as well. But Mario Kart DS, there are, what is there, 4 Grand Prix of the regular, and there's 4 retro Grand Prix. So I think this is the first Mario Kart that started introducing some retro levels into it, and that's super nostalgic to me too, because I really love the SNES game, and I do love N64. And this one really has me thinking, if I had to pick my favorite Mario Kart, I really don't know which one I would pick, and I would almost pick this one. And I think this is going to be a decision I'm going to have to make sometime soon, because for the Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2025, I'm going to be ranking my top 10 favorite games of all time, and there probably has to be a Mario Kart game on that list. And even now, thinking through it, would it be SNES? Would it be N64? Would it be Mario Kart DS? Would it be Double Dash? Would it be Mario Kart on the Wii? Would it be Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? Or would it even be Mario Kart World? I really don't know. And I think it would maybe be somewhere between N64, Mario Kart DS. I guess Mario Kart 7's in there, but I don't know if I played a ton of Mario Kart 7. But it would probably be between 64, DS, Double Dash, and maybe 8 Deluxe at this point. Just for all the content in 8 Deluxe, I think that one makes that one extremely good. But going back to this one on DS, it's hitting all those same things I've been talking about with Kirby Air Riders, F-Zero, Sonic Racing. I just have fun playing these games. I think they're relaxing. I think they're great to do with listening to podcasts, or if you're watching like a sports game or watching YouTube. I don't know why I said a sports game, but we're watching YouTube. I think they just go perfectly for that. Having a handheld game and a true handheld is nice too. The Switch and Switch 2 is handheld, but having a true handheld where you can really fit it in your pocket. Not that I do that a whole lot, but it's just a different, it's a little bit of a different thing holding a DS compared to a Switch. It's just a lot smaller. It feels a little more comfortable, a little bit easier, pick up and put down kind of thing. It doesn't feel like as premium of a device you're holding in your hand. And I think it's been fun. I've been having fun with some of these older consoles, and I think the GameCube and DS are the 2 highlights from there. And then I do have an N64, and that's what, I bought some controllers. That was the other thing I got with my trade-in. So I basically got those 2 games, and I got a couple controllers for my N64. So that now that I have 4 controllers for that, and then I also picked up another GameCube controller. So I just got my OEM GameCube controller maybe a month or 2 ago, and the shop had another one in. So I now have a silver one. So that one actually matches my console. The first one I got was a purple one, but this silver one's in just as good of condition. So I've upgraded my controllers for some of my older consoles and picked up a couple games. And then also been playing Kirby Air Riders. So that's kind of been my week for video games. It's been extremely fun. It's been right up my wheelhouse. Another pun that was really not intended, but sort of was. And I've been, hitting the streets, and I've been racing, and I've even been, jumping off the streets and Kirby Air Riders and taking to the air a bit. And that's been fun. So that's everything I've been playing this week. What else do I want to say? Some general kind of stuff. It's been the year of no direction on the Dep Lewis Show. So I haven't had like a theme or anything I've been trying to follow or think about over the course of the year. I think that's been pretty fun. I think for next year, I think I have decided what it's going to be the year of. And I think there's probably some pretty good clues in this podcast if you were wanting to guess. But I'm not going to reveal this until the final episode of the year, which is the Dep Lewis Show Awards 2025, the 4th annual, which will take place on the final Sunday of the year, December 28th, 2025. I'm going to name the best game of the year, the best game from a prior year, my top 10 games of all time, and some more categories in there as well. And I'm also going to reveal, what the theme for next year is going to be for the Dep Lewis Show. It's going to be a theme for the entire year. And I think I've landed on something that's really, really good. I think it's going to be fun. I'm excited about it, and I'm not going to tell you till then, but if I change my mind before then, I'll let you know. But other than that, I think it's been decided. It's been something I've been going back and forth on, and I'm ready for it. I'm ready for, still have some time of this year left. Got still a couple games releasing, which we're going to talk about in the middle of the show. My favorite episode to do each year is the Dep Lewis Show Awards, and it's just some good stuff, and I'm ready. And I'm excited about it. I picked some direction for next year. It's been the year no direction, but next year it's going to have some direction, and I'll be telling you about it soon. So that's everything I got for you for the first section of the show. I've been playing some Kirby Air Riders, some F-Zero GX, some Mario Kart DS, and then we talked about the Dep Lewis Show Awards 2025 coming up on the final Sunday of the year, December 28th, 2025. So that's going to wrap up the first section of the show, and you're going to hear some lovely break music from friend of the show and friend in real life, Volnus. And we're going to come back for the midsection where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. Welcome back to the midsection of Dep Lewis Show, episode 156. This is where I tell you about everything going on around the video game world that you need to know. And the first thing I want to tell you about was there was an Xbox partner preview that took place last week. They streamed live on November 20th on the Xbox YouTube channel. This was a broadcast dedicated to games from third-party partners, featuring a mix of new announcements and game updates, including 007 First Light, Reanimal, Tides of Annihilation, and more, with over a dozen new trailers over the course of around 30 minutes. So I did watch most of this, and what else did they say? They say, as always, Xbox Partner Preview is all about sharing exciting game news from our talented partners across the globe. During Xbox Partner Preview, you'll get multiple world premieres, first looks at gameplay, and updates on other great titles coming to Xbox. Every game you see will be Xbox Play Anywhere, which I think that was a pretty interesting touch. So you can buy once and play on Xbox console, PC, and supported handhelds. And many will also be coming to Xbox Game Pass Ultimate on day one. So I think most of their shows in the future will be touting this Xbox Play Anywhere. So they are really, really partnering with a lot of people. So these showcase things, I always like to just bring them up because they do have good information in them. But I always kind of like to say you should, if you're interested, go watch these yourself. I'm not going to be talking about all the things from the showcase, and you might find some things in there interesting that I'm not immediately picking up on. And this one, I don't have a lot of hitters from this that I think looked really cool, but there was one kind of announcement that was surprising to me here, and that was a game called Vampire Crawler. And this is the Vampire Crawler, the turbo wildcard from Vampire Survivors. This has been announced. This is the next game from Ponkel, the developer and publisher. I hope that's how you say his name, but he is the famed developer of Vampire Survivors, the big indie hit. And then this follow-up, Vampire Crawler, you can deal world-ending combos and blitz through infested dungeons. Vampire Crawlers, the turbo wildcard from Vampire Survivors, is a casual turn-based deck builder with roguelite elements. Master the turbo turn with your own hand of cards. So basically taking the world of Vampire Survivors into the roguelite card builder. If you look at this, the art and aesthetic and vibe is going to look 100% like Vampire Survivors, or a whole lot like it. But it's going to be, I guess a fusion between that and like Slay the Spire, I guess would be an immediate correlation to make. And in a dark world, a new adventure begins. Explore maps, level up powers, and kill monsters and find treasures. And the back of the box talk is from the somehow triple BAFTA winning creators of Vampire Survivors. Vampire Crawlers, the turbo wildcard from Vampire Survivors, turns the snowballing thrill of Vampire Survivors into a turn-based, card-driven blobber, which I guess is hope I wrote that down correctly, but I have it in all caps, and I think that's probably how they wrote it. Blobber with roguelite elements. Build busted decks, explore familiar dungeons from a new perspective, and unleash world-ending combos. It does kind of have the Megabonk perspective into it in some of these sections. So basically takes the top-down Vampire Survivors and brings it to the 3D world. Either take your time and be tactical or play turns as fast as you humanly can. The outcome is always accurate. So this, I don't know if I would immediately jump into it. I would almost immediately jump into it just based off the posterity of Vampire Survivors being so much fun. And this game won't be like a full price game or anything like that. But I don't know if it immediately sounds up my alley. I don't think I've been into a card deck building game in a while. And I just don't know if this one will immediately fit into my game rotation. But I think it's an excellent announcement. I think it's super cool. I think it's nice that they are taking a new stab at doing something with their IP that they created. And I think the transitioning to a roguelike card builder, I think probably is a great idea. And I'm sure they're going to make a great one. And Vampire Crawler, I don't know if they announced any release frame or release window, but I think maybe next year at least sounds doable. but that's just me speculating completely. But Vampire Crawler has been announced by the Great Ponkel, the follow-up, I guess, to Vampire Survivors. All right, a couple things from the Xbox Partner Preview I want to tell you about. 007 First Light got a new trailer. That's the IO Interactive, the Hitman crew, their upcoming new game. This new trailer was showing off some of Bond's new cars, and this game, 007 First Light, is a new standalone reimagined James Bond origin story and the events that led an audacious young hero to become the best M16 or MI6 agent. I don't know if I have too much interest in this game. I do like Hitman. I do like James Bond a little bit. I think my most consumed game, or my most consumed James Bond media would be 007 GoldenEye for the N64, and maybe the one game after that. But I never got into Hitman really deep. I think I'm a little bit scared of it just because you have to be kind of stealthy around there. But I've had a lot of fun with the game. I've watched a lot of people play Hitman online, and it is a series I could see myself getting into at some point. But I think this is pretty cool in general, and definitely probably the highlight from this partner preview just as a whole. Outside of me being a Vampire Survivors fan, I think 007 First Light is kind of the biggest thing that Xbox has been pushing at the moment. All right, the other thing that I think is a cool announcement, Dave the Diver is coming to Xbox, which I'm surprised it wasn't on Xbox already, but that's the case, and it comes to Xbox with In the Jungle DLC set for 2026, so I guess that DLC will be coming to all platforms next year, and then Dave the Diver is now officially on Xbox, and that's available now. And the port's from the developer Mint Rocket. It's $19.99 US. Dave the Diver is an adventure RPG management hybrid. Explore and unravel the mysteries in the depths of the blue hole by day and run a successful exotic sushi restaurant by night. It's easy to get hooked on the satisfying gameplay loop. So I think for me, I do enjoy these games a whole lot, but I think I can maybe only play like one of them at a time. And I think the one, or maybe only like one of them a year or something like that. And I'm talking about the games, I talk about these games all the time, and I need to make a list of games and categorize them as something on this show because I do mention them a lot, like Binding of Isaac, Dead Cells, Spelunky, Super Meat Boy is even one. I'm blanking on a few of the more recent ones. Vampire Survivors, Balatro. Those are some of the games. There's always like a $14.99 game that I play during the year that's one of my favorite games of the year. And the most recent one has been Ball Pit. And I think Ball Pit's been the one that's going to be sticking around for a bit. A friend of the show, Volnus, I think is already kind of seen. I think he's already at the end game. I don't know if he's 100% at everything, but I bet he's pretty damn close, or I bet he's already done it. And I think the main thing there is you just want to kind of go through and beat the game with all the different characters. And I think his play hours are around 40 or 50 hours, something like that. So he definitely got a lot of gameplay of it. But I think he's been cooling on it, but I think he's still been playing some. So I think Ball Pit is still holding strong as a really strong game. I think I'm in the 4 to 6 hour range or something like that. So I still have a whole lot more to play. And I think for now, I'm going to kind of operate as a one whenever I want to categorize these games at a time. Even Hades I put in that category. Hades, Hollow Knight, these more inexpensive kind of indie games, but they have a lot of depth to them and a lot of hours you can get a lot of gameplay out of them, and a lot of these games are great for playing on the Nintendo Switch. But Dave the Diver, another one kind of in that category, has a really fun loop. The art style is cool, the characters are cool. I like the restaurant portion of the game is really fun and adds a little bit of anxiety in there and a little bit more, more anxiety than the open world portion. The open world portion has anxiety because you're swimming under the sea, but it's often kind of relaxing for the most part, but then until you come upon like a shark or something trying to get you. But Dave the Diver, available on Xbox right now. So that was kind of everything from the partner preview that I thought was especially cool. There were some other games shown in there. Might not just be up my alley. I might not be, or I might just be missing out on some of these as well. So maybe go check that out for yourself. It's around 30 minutes if you want to go watch it. I didn't really see any of the outlets I like to watch doing like a talk over, which I was surprised by. Usually somebody is, but I just kind of watched the basic version of this, and you can go do that as well on the Xbox YouTube channel. So that's the Xbox Partner Preview. And we talked about a few games and cool things announced from that. All right, sticking with some Xbox stuff. This is the 20th anniversary, just took place yesterday, November 22nd, for the Xbox 360. Xbox 360, one of my favorite consoles of all time. It's definitely got to be up there in contention for me. Let's see here. So just, happy anniversary to Xbox 360. Just want to think about it and talk about it for a second. About Xbox, this was the console that was out like during my high school years into early 20s. I mean, what a perfect console. I think most time, if you're a video gamer, that's going to be a pretty special time in your life because you have a lot of free time to be playing some video games and maybe even a little bit of money to start buying some of your own video games. So I think that's a pretty cool time. And that was me during the Xbox 360 era. Friend of the show, Stoop Woot, who you hear about a lot, he was the first one I know to get an Xbox 360. I think he got it pretty early on. I don't know if it was release day, but I think he got it pretty early on. And then he let me borrow it. He went on vacation to the beach or something like that over the summer and let me borrow his 360 while he went away. I started my own file in Oblivion. I, played it endlessly, had so much fun. And then I got my own 360 shortly after that. It's kind of my 360 story. And then playing games like Halo 3. I'm trying to think of all my favorite games. BioShock, Mass Effect, Call of Duty 4. But I think, I'm even naming I'm naming a list. IGN even did their top 20 games that define the Xbox. And, my brain immediately went to Halo 3. And that was the first one on their list. Their top 5 was, number 1 was Halo 3, Gears of War, Mass Effect, Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 4. Of Call of Duty 4, Modern Warfare, and Grand Theft Auto 4. So I think all those would be in my top 5 or my top list. Maybe not Grand Theft Auto 4, but I do love that game and think about that on being on the 360. But other games would be, I guess Fable would be in there. I guess I'm trying to think of other Ninja Gaiden 2. It's kind of a random one. There was a Resident Evil 5, I guess I really enjoyed. Smaller games like Castle Crashers. But mainly Halo, a lot of Halo. I think if I had to, definitely if I think Xbox for myself, I guess, Forza's in there as well. But if I think Xbox, my brain's going to Halo, and I think that will always be the case for me as far as Xbox. But Xbox 360 had their 20th anniversary. And, just shout out to Xbox 360. It's definitely one of my favorite consoles. It's up there with N64. It's up there with GameCube. I think Switch is even up there in my favorite consoles these days, more recently. But that'll be something to think about. As time goes on, it's going to be hard to surpass some of these consoles you have when you're a younger person, I feel like. But, hey, the Switch is more of a recent one. And that one, I think, is definitely up there for one of my favorite consoles ever. All right, so happy anniversary, Xbox 360. All right, more Xbox news. The Xbox full screen experience is coming to Windows 11 and as of November 21st, available for Xbox insiders. So some people are able to try this out, and this is really going to enhance some of these handheld PCs, especially the ROG Xbox Ally and their functionality. And their back-of-the-box quote for Xbox full screen experience: today, the full screen experience FSE is generally available on Windows 11 handhelds currently in market, bringing performance optimizations and the ability to boot directly into Xbox for a smoother, more seamless way to play, designed to minimize friction and get players into games faster. This update helps deliver a console-like experience on handheld devices. In addition to handhelds, the Xbox full screen experience is now available in preview for more Windows 11 PC form factors, such as laptops, desktops, and tablets tailored for the PC experience. And the Xbox full screen experience introduces a controller navigable UI that brings an immersive console-like experience to Windows 11 PC form factors. So I think this is very good. I think this is my biggest thought while reading this and learning more about this is, why was this not released simultaneous with the ROG Xbox Ally? And I guess maybe even thinking about it now, it's just maybe that console is not that much of a priority for them, because there is a big arsenal of platforms that can play Xbox games. They know Xbox Play Anywhere, but you would think them having their co-partnered product with Asus, however you want to pronounce it, the ROG Xbox Ally, you think this would have been something out of the box you'd want to have. Hey, we want to time up our release of the Windows full screen experience with this new device that we're releasing that should work the best with, in terms of Xbox, and is one of the most expensive handheld devices out there. Well, I guess maybe that's not true, but it is an expensive handheld device. It's just kind of mind-blowing that they didn't have it ready with the launch. This has been the biggest complaint from everybody from the ROG Xbox Ally, is that Windows 11 is bogging down this machine from you getting into the video games. It's constantly, asking you for updates, asking if you want to sign up for a free trial of stuff. They're saying, hey, they kind of want to get the Windows out of this console as much as you can. And then that's the biggest positive I've heard really from the Steam Deck, is the Steam OS is really like a console-like UI. But, Xbox is saying this Xbox full screen experience is that. It's just a little bit late to the party is what I'm saying. But I guess if you're trying to prepare this for all these different form factors, like they say in different handheld gaming PCs and even laptops and things like that. It's a bigger thing than just getting it ready for the ROG Xbox Ally. And maybe it was originally intended to release simultaneously, but I think that's a mess up overall. And I think it's a mess up for them delivering that handheld, which I think is pretty much, I don't hear anybody talking about that handheld anymore. I think it's a little bit gone by the wayside. And I think for that thing to hit, it needed to be doing kind of everything correctly. And I think this is a little bit of a fumble. And that is my thought a little bit too on the Steam machine. I think that Steam machine, I think the price talk out there is the numbers going up, And I think they need to think about that, where they need to really think about, I guess like the market share of like really trying to capture the market share and making it an enticing deal, and maybe taking a little bit of a loss. Or I think you're always kind of taking a loss on a hardware sale, but getting people into your ecosystem is huge, and they have the opportunity to do that. And you don't get a first chance at it either. And that's the thing here with the Xbox, the release of the ROG Xbox Ally. You're not going to you're not going to redo the launch of that and say have a chance to redo the launch and really launch with the console like experience. You're going to have everybody who bought this was an early adopter, kind of had a bad experience, told everyone else about it, and really kind of soured people on trying to get them into something that they might not originally do anyways, which is buy a really expensive handheld gaming PC. That's not something that has a mass market appeal at this time, so I think it's just a little bit of a mess up. And with the Steam machine too, that's going to take a hurdle to get the average Joe or average video gamer to want to go buy a Steam machine and figure out the difference in their life between that and the console or whatever it may be. So I think these things are extremely important. I think these things are the difference between it being kind of a game changer, or shifting the market, or shifting things around you just in the video game ecosystem, and just being something that's kind of just like a passing by thing and an option. I think a lot of these times these companies really are trying to go for the big hit, and they probably should. So the Steam machine, I think that price stuff. And I was also thinking, a lot of times now we're getting console announcements for pieces of hardware. We're not getting the price, and I'm believing more and more that they're using this in between time to kind of gauge the public's opinion of what they can. I think they're using this time as information, which I guess is smart to do, but it just kind of baffles me that things really are that from the flip of a switch. Like, it's not really that planned out. Like, it really is like, okay, we're going to announce this thing. We're going to kind of see what the feedback is out there in the world. And they're even doing it. I mean, it's been a month or so, or a couple weeks now. There's been plenty of feedback, and I think they kind of know where the general public stands. And then they're probably going to price it according to that. And I just think that's kind of a wild thing. I think, my opinion is you'd want to set the tone yourself more so than being reactionary. And I think if you're going to set the tone, it's risky, but I think it's going to ultimately lead you to the heights, or to what you're trying to achieve with these things. And they're all trying to achieve, big profits and big sales, but also just, ultimately be a big player in the video game market. And that's something that's dominated by a few companies hardware wise, and getting into that mix is going to be difficult. So that's one of the most things I'm most interested in right now, is that Steam machine pricing. It's definitely something I'm interested in to possibly buy, but I just got down that rabbit hole talking about the Xbox full screen experience, which is not even available now. I'm talking about that like it's available. It's available in preview for some people, and it's coming at some point for everyone at some point. So that's a little bit wild, and I think a little bit of a fumble, especially there with the ROG Xbox Ally release. All right, moving over some more out of the Xbox stuff, getting into the PlayStation 5. There's just a quick thing. There's been a Welcome Hub update, and it's available now. And the funny thing is that when I saw this, I wrote this news down last week that it came out, and then I went to look it up again today just to make sure I have my notes correct. And I think a lot of people are trashing this, and I couldn't really understand why. But PS5 Welcome Home update is available now. It adds a new widget showing your recent game stats and a dynamic animated background that changes with the seasons. So basically just some more UI customizable options for the PlayStation 5, which I think is nice. I think the customizable UI options have been lacking from the launch of the console, but they've gotten better over time, and it seems like they keep on improving them. And one of the coolest things, thinking about that with the UI, is when there was some big anniversary for PlayStation 5 last year, and they announced all these themes that you could use that were like anniversary themes for PlayStation 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And it was only going to be for a limited time. People loved them. And then They took them off the market, and then these were all free, but they took them off the system. And like a couple weeks later, they're like, hey, everybody loved these so much, we're bringing them back permanently. And I think things like that are extremely nice. And that was kind of my thoughts on this Welcome Hub, but I don't know if it changed something that people liked, or if it really is kind of lacking in features or not that much of an update. But I'm not really sure why people would be complaining about that. But, you never know. And I really can't say because I didn't try it out, but the PS5 Welcome Hub update is available now. All right, what else is going on around the video game world that I want to tell you about? Got a lot of stuff this week. All right, there is a Game Awards show. The Game Awards by Geoff Keighley is what I'm going to call it. I guess it's the most mainstream, most popular video game award show of the year, definitely. And they've announced their Game of the Year candidates. So definitely something fun to follow. And, I think the best award show of the year is the Dep Lewis Show Awards, with the 4th annual ones coming up December 28, 2025. But I'm definitely biased as I'm the host of the Dep Lewis Show. But, this one's just interesting to follow for big mainstream news. So their Game of the Year candidates are Claire Obscure Expedition 33, Death Stranding 2 On the Beach, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silk Song, and Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. So I don't know if they have, I think there's 2 games, maybe 3 that I have in contention for my Game of the Year, and I don't think none of them are on this list. And that is okay. The Game Awards by Geoff Keighley will be taking place December 11th at the Peacock Theater in Los Angeles. And my guess is Claire Obscure Expedition 33 is going to win, and I think that's rightfully so. This was kind of a smash hit from the year from a smaller team. Made one of the... that game's been kind of universally praised and critically acclaimed. I listen to the music from that game and think it's amazing and something that I want to play at some point. And I think it seems worthy of a Game of the Year contender. It kind of seems like it's getting most arrows pointing towards it. And that's just my little bit of prediction for Geoff Keighley's The Game Awards, which will be taking place on December 11th. And I'll definitely be reporting back to you on some of the winners of those categories because that's a fun one to follow. All right, what else is going on? The Analogue 3D, the reimagining of the N64 in 4K resolution, 10 times the original resolution of the original N64, is finally shipping and out to people. Reviews are out. You can see some of your favorite YouTubers are just people out there breaking it down, telling you about it, and everything from this seems really good. It seems kind of like the Analogue Pocket. It's kind of expensive, but it's doing what it's advertised to do. It's a really great thing to play your old cartridges, and it makes it easy and more simple for modern times. And I think that's really cool. Something I would definitely be interested in buying at some point. And if you didn't get one through the original pre-orders, they've announced that a restock for the Analogue 3D is taking place on November 24th. So tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, so early in the morning. The price is now increased $20, so it's $269.99 to $270 US, up from $250. And the restock will ship December 2nd after all pre-orders. So pre-orders are shipping and remain first in line. So it seems like they're still going through some of those, but they are going to open a restock for the Analogue 3D tomorrow if you're listening in real time. This is something I would love to be able to pre-order tomorrow, but I just think I'm just going to wait until these are more readily available on the Analogue 3D website and possibly pick one up next year or maybe the following year. I've been back into playing my N64 some, and I've been having fun just playing the original N64. So I don't know, how necessary it would be to jump up, but just for future stuff. It'd be nice to have a easy console, especially now that I don't know how many N64 games I have, maybe 5, something like that, maybe 6, maybe. And it'd be cool to have something that would be like a great version to play them as the future goes on. But, even playing on the original hardware, I keep talking about how nice that is, and I just think this thing's cool. I think the Analogue Pocket's cool. I think it's something I'd like to have in the future. And if I just had, all the video game money in the world, these would be things, I would be jumping on ordering right now. But Analogue 3D shipping out to people. It's cool to see people having fun with those. And it definitely looks like a really cool machine. 8-Bit Do. That's a company that makes a lot of third-party makes controllers and Bluetooth controllers for different devices. And they have announced a 8-Bit Do 64 Bluetooth controller. So perfect for the Analogue 3D. Pre-order available now on their eShop. It's the classic gray, a tribute to the original N64 controller, the most iconic colorway now reborn. And they say it's designed to play games perfectly on the Analogue 3D. It's $44.99, and definitely looks cool. And I think those controllers are a great way to play some of these older games. All right, what else is going on? So Analogue 3D out there in the wild. There was a shadow drop of an older game, but it's coming to Switch, or it came to Switch and Switch 2 last week, and that's Tomb Raider Definitive Edition. It's $19.99 currently on sale, but it's on sale for $17.99 USDs if you want to get it right now. The original release of this game is 2013. It's the cinematic action adventure that forced Lara Croft to grow from an inexperienced young woman into a hardened survivor. Has been rebuilt for next-gen consoles, featuring an obsessively detailed Lara in a stunningly lifelike world. Lara must endure high-octane combat, customize her weapons and gear, and overcome grueling environments to survive her first adventure and uncover the island's deadly secret. So this game was from 2013. I think it's a cool option to have more third-party stuff on the Switch, especially if it runs in a good form or fashion. I'm not sure if that's the case here, but I would at least expect the Switch 2 version of this to be running good because this is a game from 2013. All right, what else going on around the video game world I want to tell you about? Tales of Berseria has been a remaster has been announced for that. Tales of Berseria. Bandai Namco announced this last week. The developer is DAG Inc. This will be releasing on February 27th for Switch, PS5, Xbox Series, and PC. $39.99 US. Relive the tale of Velvet Crow in the remastered version of the action JRPG. Tales of Berseria. Enjoy a fast-paced, customizable battle system and slash through anyone and anything in the path of Velvet and her comrades. Navigate through a world of mysteries, emotional bonds, and betrayal with enhanced playability and quality of life enhancements. So I think the Tales franchise, or I know the Tales franchise, is revered by a lot of people. It's not something I have any familiarity or experience with, but something that I would like to play at some point. I think there's definitely some GameCube titles that maybe I would pick up at some point, but definitely interesting. Tales of Berseria Remastered has been announced and releasing on February 27th in 2026. So only, a couple months away. All right, for the Switch 2, another game has been announced, PGA Tour 2K25, thinking about third-party stuff. This will release on February 6, 2026. The initial release of this was February 2025, so about a year away. Enjoy putts, pars, and precision like never before with PGA Tour 2K25, the newest iteration of the best-selling golf sim franchise of the decade. The game file size is about 34.2 gigabytes. No Switch 2 price currently shown, but the PSN price normally is $69.99 US, and it's on sale right now on PSN for $31.49 if you want to go buy that. I think it's cool. I think a golfing game is great for the Switch. I think I would expect the Switch 2 could run this game in a nice form or a nice fashion. And I'm just not really sure how well, the new 2K, how well Madden. I think it's been kind of hit or miss on some of those releases, but I would kind of expect golf to be running pretty good. And if it has a dedicated Switch 2 version, I don't believe it even has a Switch 1 version. I think they can make something good here. And I'm sure it's going to be a game key card, but either way, PGA Tour 2K25 is coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 on February 6th. All right, talking about some more releases and Switch 2 ones. Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade is going to be 95 gigabytes on Switch 2. That's the news here. The limited early purchase edition will be 99 gigabytes, so that's a lot. This is going to release on January 22nd, 2026, and the limited early purchase edition digitally is $39.99 US. So this is a very fun game that I played on PlayStation 4 and 5, and I would maybe want to play this on Switch at some point. I've been hearing that this is a good port of the game. So it would be kind of impressive to be playing this game in handheld and fun to be playing this game in handheld, even if it doesn't run quite as good as it does on other platforms. As long as it's a coherent, good, stable version of the game, that would be what I would ask for, really, with some of these third-party things. But Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, almost 100 gigs for the download. All right, the last two things I just want to mention. I've been mentioning these for the last couple of weeks, though, but I just want to keep them on your radar for the last kind of big releases for the year. The biggest one, I think, definitely is Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. This is going to release on December 4th for Switch 2 and 1. Switch 2 edition has mouse control support, enhanced visuals, and frame rates and quality mode / performance mode options. $59.99 US. I don't know if the Switch 2 version is more, but maybe don't quote me on that, but it's at least $59.99 US. Same as Aaron, one of the greatest bounty hunters in the galaxy, capable of completing any mission no matter the danger, lands on planet Vuros, which is an unknown planet. Samus suddenly finds herself transported to the greenery of an ancient jungle. So I think all the chatter about this early on was, hey, we really hate the sidekick in this game. He's annoying. He's too quippy. He sounds like a Marvel Avengers level humor kind of character. But then I've also heard people say, hey, this might just be a small section. It might just be the internet, harping on one full thing that's a small bit of a full experience. And and blah, 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 blah. And really, I think with a lot of this stuff, if you really want to know, you got to really try it out for yourself. People have different tastes on all sorts of things, and you never know what's going to hit for one person versus another. And, some person could see this being great, some person could be being terrible, and I think that's kind of always going to be the case. There's some things that are kind of, skew one way or the other, but I think, for the most part, you're going to get a wide range of opinions on all things out here, and I guess Metroid Prime 4 is one. But the Metroid Prime franchise is one a lot of people love. It's been a long time coming for this game release, so I think that's exciting in itself. It seems like this game is going to be looking really good, which is nice, and I could see myself getting caught up in the hype of wanting to pick this up. I still like to play Metroid Prime 1. I was actually watching Tokoto, or the great Mike/Mitch Minotti from Giant Bomb. He was playing Metroid Prime 2 Echoes last night, and I was watching him stream some of that and really making me want to play that. The music in that was extra cool. He was trying to play through the original 3 before getting to the 4th one. So if you want to go watch some Metroid Prime gameplay, please go check out Mike Minotti. He's a cool internet games guy over there with Giant Bomb. He's one of my recent kind of new favorite internet people for sure. So please go check out Mitch Minotti playing some Metroid Prime. But Metroid Prime 4 Beyond coming out December 4th was the main thing here I wanted to tell you. And the last little bit of news, I just want to mention Octopath Traveler 0 releases December 4th for Switch 2 and 1, PS5 4, Xbox Series X and S, Microsoft Windows, and Steam. Start from zero in a tale of restoration and retribution. This is a prequel set in the realm of Orstera, and the demo is available for now. Our demo is available right now, so I just want to make sure that you know what's going on as we get closer here to the end of the year. We're getting very, very close, and we're getting very close to the Dep Lewis Show Awards for 2025. But we're definitely close to the end of the midsection, because that is the end of the midsection. So that's all the video game news and information I wanted to tell you about this week. We talked about the Xbox partner preview, including Vampire Crawler, 007 First Light, and Dave the Diver. We talked about Xbox 360's anniversary. We talked about the Xbox full screen experience, the PlayStation 5 Welcome Hub update, the Game Awards by Geoff Keighley, Analogue 3D, the 8-bit Do. I always say 8-bit Do, but it's 8-bit Do, I think. 64 Bluetooth controller, the Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, Tales of Berseria Remastered, PGA Tour 2K25, Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Octopath Traveler 0. So that's all the video game news and information I wanted to tell you about. That's going to wrap up the midsection of the show. But there's still one final section left to go. And that's the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside of video games. It's usually very short and sweet. I want to get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what's going on all my favorite teams. Even if you don't like sports, you can live with me through the highs and the lows of my favorite teams. And there's normally a lot of lows. But this week, we got some highs, and I want to report those to you. So please come back after this music for the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 156. Welcome back to the final section of Dep Lewis Show, episode 156. This is the Miscellaneous Talk section, where I can talk about anything I want to outside the video game world. So I want to get into the worldwide world of sports and tell you what's going on with all my favorite teams. And my favorite team, the Carolina Panthers, they're normally playing in about an hour and a half from now, but they're not playing until tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. So I have to wait a whole night. Don't know what I'm going to do with myself today with no Panthers to watch, but that is okay, because the Panthers are coming off a win last week. Yes, you heard that right. The Panthers are 6-5 after that game, and they took down the Atlanta Falcons last week, 30-27, with a field goal at the end to take the lead and win the game. So very exciting. Bryce had, I guess, one of his best games, maybe his best game as a pro. He was 31 for 45, 448 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 5 sacks for 29 yards. So pretty incredible. He was out there slinging the ball, and I think this is exactly what I was hoping for last week. So I'm pretty excited about that, having a Bryce show out day. And I called the shot for you, Bryce. You know you're welcome out there. All the Dep Lewis Show out here helping Bryce as much as I can. Rico had 19 carries for 45 yards. T-Mac had 8 catches for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. XL had 4 catches, 83 yards, and a touchdown. Trayvon Moehrig, which I've heard the announcers pronounce his last name differently, so I could be doing that incorrectly. So no disrespect to you, Mr. Trayvon, because you've been balling out, and I hope I will get to the bottom of exactly how to pronounce your name at some point. But you had 11 total tackles for 6 solo to lead the team. And then Christian Roseboom had 10 tackles, 2 solo and 1 tackle for a loss. And then another name I'm not familiar with, but I'm familiar with the number because he definitely flashes on the screen. That's number 53, and that's Claudin Cherilus. He also had 10 tackles and 2 solo. And Trayvon and Claudine have been balling out this year, and I think they're both young guys, and they both, just when you watch the games, they stand out on the screen. They're always in the mix. They're always making plays, and I am thankful that they are on the Carolina Panthers. And then Ryan Fitzgerald, the kicker, who's been struggling the last couple weeks, he's not struggling this week. He was 100%. So shout out to Ryan Fitzgerald, 3 for 3 on his field goals, 1 for 1 on the extra point, and he scored 10 total points for the Panthers. So, way to go, Ryan. And he made the clutch kick. So very good to see. I think his season overall has been like 80% good, maybe even a little bit higher. So very nice to see some steady kicking and some clutch kicking too. So way to go, Ryan Fitzgerald. Now the Panthers are 6-5 after this game. That's the same record as Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay plays the Rams this week, so that's a tough game. I believe that's the case. And then the Panthers are playing San Francisco tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. So all your rowdy friends, get there on Monday night. Get ready for that. So I'm excited. I think, if the Panthers win and the Bucs lose, the Panthers will be first in the division. And if you see South, then they are definitely in the mix for fighting for the division. The Panthers have a tough schedule to close out the year, so it's going to be a tough way to go. And I think the Bucs have a way easier schedule. But you never know in the NFL. Any given Sunday, anybody can get anybody. And the Panthers have been doing a good job, and way better job. Well, I guess they've surpassed last year already, and we still got a bunch of games to go. So that is very good. My fantasy team is also still undefeated. I'm 11-0. I really snuck it out by like less than 2 points, which was pretty exciting. And looking to, get the 12th win today. I'm playing the Great Sanfi. And you guys have heard about the Great Sanfi before, the one guest so far on the Dep Lewis Show. And I'm hopefully, even though he's the Great Sanfi, I hope I'm going to be taking him down like Charlie Brown in fantasy football this week. So take that, Sanfi. All right, so what else is going on? So that's my NFL update. Go Panthers tomorrow night, and I'm excited about that. It's going to be really, really fun to watch them on Monday Night Football. So that is my main thing I want to tell you I'm excited about. And as far as the NBA, I'm a halfway fan of the Charlotte Hornets because I'm a North Carolina resident recently, and they've been doing a lot of losing. And I think the couple years I lived in North Carolina, it's been the same case for them. So I think there are going to be some drastic changes coming to the Hornets roster this season because it has not been working. It has not gotten any better. There hasn't been any road to progression besides a few good players here and there. But I think they need to get rid of the high-dollar guys, and I think that's what they're going to do. The Charlotte Hornets last week, Monday at Toronto, the Hornets lost 108-110. Wednesday at the Pacers, Hornets lost 118-127. Saturday versus the Clippers, Hornets lost 116-131. So none of those teams, Toronto, Pacers, or Clippers, I would say are, finals contenders. But, they're all beating the Hornets. And then today, which is actually very cool, the Hornets are playing in Atlanta versus the Hawks, which the Hawks are my favorite team, at 6 p.m. So I'm really excited about that as a day where I'm missing out on the Panthers and the Braves today. And then next week for the Hornets, they have the Knicks, which is at home in Charlotte, the Bulls, and Toronto. And then my favorite NBA team, the Atlanta Hawks, who has been missing Trae Young, but has been, having the young core, really going out there and balling and getting some wins. So last Sunday at Phoenix, it was a late game. The Hawks won 124-122. Tuesday versus Detroit, the Hawks lost 112-120, which Detroit, I have a lot of respect for them. I think they're kind of a dark horse team for me. Thursday at San Antonio with no Wemby, the Hawks lost still 126-135. Saturday at New Orleans, the Hawks won 115-98. And New Orleans is a really, really big mess right now as well. I guess thinking about the Hornets. But the Hawks are going to play the Hornets today in Atlanta at 6 p.m. So that's something for me to look forward to sports-wise besides just football in general and fantasy football. So I'm happy about that. And then next week, the Hawks are playing the Wizards, the Cavs, and Philly. All right, my favorite team in the universe, the Atlanta Braves, are in the offseason. The 2026 season begins for the Braves Thursday, March 26, 2026 versus the Royals. But, who's looking forward to that? Not me. And the Braves in the past week have acquired infielder, I think more particularly a shortstop, Mauricio Dubon, the 31-year-old Gold Glover from the Houston Astros, for infielder Nick Allen. So this to me looks like, a utility player upgrade. Nick Allen was a very serviceable utility player to have on the roster. I don't think he's someone you want starting every day, but I think he's the perfect guy to come in and spell a guy, or if there's an injury, to come in, play some defense. I think Nick Allen was really kind of lacking on the bat part of this option. So it seems like Dubon, being a Gold Glover, is going to come through and handle the defense, and it seems like maybe he has a little bit more of a lively bat. But he is a 31-year-old baseball player, so, a little bit up there in age, and maybe not the long-term answer for the Braves, but I guess 31 still. He's still got some prime year. Still got a handful of prime years, but I just don't know if he's the ultimate answer. I don't know if he's going to be like the everyday starting shortstop for the Braves, or if they're still looking to make a move and then make Mauricio more of like a utility kind of guy. Ozzy has some injuries from time to time. Maybe play him at second, maybe play him at short. I just don't know. I just don't really see this as too much of a splash move besides just a little bit of an upgrade to Nick Allen. And I don't know if the difference in price is really going to be worth it. I don't really know the difference in price either. But generally, I'm positive on this move, just thinking it's a little bit of an upgrade, but not over the moon about it. One move that I am not happy about, which I don't know. I think this is more of a personal one that I'm unhappy about, but a right-handed pitcher, Raisel Iglesias, they signed him to a 1-year, $16 million contract for next year. So I guess he was a complete free agent after this year. I just think Iglesias has had some good moments. I think he's generally had a pretty good end to the year and had some okay stats. But he really is just a roller coaster to watch. And especially, in the final inning of the game, it's the most stressful. Having a roller coaster viewing at that point is like one of the most frustrating and terrible things to watch as a fan. It is the Will Smith experience, the relief pitcher that pitched for the Braves, pitched for the Dodgers, and pitched for the Rangers, a few different teams in there. He would play really well sometimes, and sometimes be lights out. But when he was wrong, your spot was getting blown up. And I just think something more consistent is what you want there. But I don't know. $16 million seems like a lot. The Braves have been, not really into spending a lot of money, but I guess they do like doing a 1-year deal from time to time. I'm glad it's not a multi-year deal. I guess I can say that. And this will be, I don't know. I guess a 1-year deal on any deal is a, show us what you got kind of thing. But number just seems kind of high, and just definitely something I'm not going to be excited about. But I guess I haven't lost complete hope in Mr. I can be your hero, baby, Iglesias. All right, so that's the Braves news. Hopefully re-signing some pitchers and hopefully making some moves and hopefully spending some damn money. That's what the Braves need to do. These teams spending the money are winning, and they're winning back-to-back, and the Dodgers can be winning back-to-back and back-to-back again. So, spend some damn money, Atlanta Braves. Check your pockets out. Look for some stuff deep down in there and go spend some money on some starting pitching. That's what you need besides having your bats going, which I think they're okay on the bats. I think you need to get some pitching in the clubhouse. So Alex Anthopoulos, pay some, get that checkbook out and start writing them, or send the money, drop the bag, call the Brinks truck, spend some cash and get the Braves back in contention. I don't think just a small retool is going to help. I think you got to go spend some cash. All right. What else is going on around the MLB? So, it is the offseason, so we're seeing some free agent moves going on. Trent Grisham is staying with the Yankees on a qualifying offer, so he was a pretty good surprise for me this year in fantasy baseball as a really great player on my team, and I think him taking qualifying offer is a little bit surprising. I think he could have got a deal, but I bet maybe he likes the situation. Maybe it's a really good number on the qualifying offer, and I think some of those things are important. So Trent Grisham staying with the Yankees, and then one of my favorite non-Braves players, Josh Naylor, is back with the Mariners on a 5-year, $92.5 million deal. The 28-year-old first baseman played 54 games for the Mariners last year after being traded from Arizona last season. So he used to be on the Guardians, which is when I started becoming a fan of Mr. Naylor, and then he got traded to the D-backs, which I thought was a great move for them, but it really didn't work out too much, or the D-backs kind of blew up their roster, traded him to the Mariners, who are an up-and-coming team, and he signs, almost a $100 million deal with them. So congratulations to the Mariners. Congratulations to you, Mr. Naylor. And I will enjoy being a fan, from afar. It's nice to, I'm just a fan of baseball in general. So there'll be some times where there's just a player that you just end up liking from a different team. And Josh Naylor is one of those for me. All right. So that's everything I got for you for the MLB news. And that's everything I got for you for, all the sports talk this week. So we talked about my favorite teams, the Carolina Panthers, the Charlotte Hornets, the Atlanta Hawks, and the Atlanta Braves. And then we also talked about some MLB news in general. I want to say go Panthers for tomorrow night on Monday Night Football. It would be a really amazing win in prime time for the world to see. I think it's definitely doable. I think it should be a competitive game at least. And at most, I think the Panthers can win. I think they can win by 10 points or something like that, Have Bryce go out there and throw 3 more touchdowns, throw the ball to T-Mac, figure out the Chuba and Rico splits of carries, and just take it. Don't take it as a negative. Just take it as you got 2 good backs, and let them run and try to spell them when you can. That should really be it. And then give the ball to XL as well too, and keep it moving. The defense is playing feisty, and I'm happy about it. And then the Hawks and the Hornets played today. I'm going to say go Hawks. And the Hawks are actually coming to town in December, about a month from now, so I'm excited about that. I plan to be going to watch that game. And I guess that's one of my favorite NBA matchups of the year, the Hawks versus the Hornets. So looking forward to that today at 6 o'clock. And that's it. That's all I got for you for the Miscellaneous Talk section. And that's all I got for you for the entire show. So I want to reiterate some promotional talk from the beginning. Please follow Dep Lewis Show everywhere. Full episodes of Dep Lewis Show available anywhere you can find a podcast. So find the best place to subscribe and listen weekly. Places like Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google, YouTube, Amazon Music, and more. YouTube is also a great place to watch replacing games live or check out the videos later. If you would like to support the show even further than just listening, patreon.com/Dep Lewis Show is available if you'd like to subscribe monthly. Also, Venmo at Dep Lewis Show is available any day, anytime, for any amount if you would like to support the show. So thank you so much for listening. This upcoming week is Thanksgiving in the United States, so I am thankful to you. I'm thankful to you for listening to my podcast. I really, really am. I'm thankful for doing this podcast. It's really fun. One of my favorite things to do each week. And I'm thankful for a lot of other stuff in my life. And I hope if you have some time off for Thanksgiving, I hope you have a great time. Hope you get to eat something good. Hope you enjoy some time off work. And if you don't celebrate Thanksgiving, I'm still thankful for you out there. And I hope you have a great week in the upcoming week. I'm not sure about next week's podcast. There's going to be a podcast because, I like doing this, but it might be a little bit later in the day on Sunday is what I'm thinking. I'm actually doing a little bit of traveling for Thanksgiving, which I don't normally do. I'm normally kind of like a day trip kind of person, but I'll be doing a little bit of traveling around, and I should still have plenty of time to, prepare the podcast, but recording it early on Sunday like I normally do might not be the move. So it might be a little bit later in the day on Sunday. It might be even Monday, I guess, is the worst case scenario. It might be even earlier. I don't really know. I want to just do something. I don't know how much video game news is going to drop in the upcoming week with it being a holiday either, but I want to get on here, tell you about what I'm playing, and just kind of do a check-in. So, expect something from me. It might not be on the most consistent time as it always is, so just maybe have a little bit of a, be mindful that it might just be at a different time, but expect to hear from me next week for sure. And, happy Thanksgiving to you out there. Thank you so much for being a listener. I hope you come back and listen again, and I will talk to you next time. Goodbye.